Welcome back to South Beach Orthotics and Prosthetics series of helpful videos. On this particular segment, we're going to be discussing the donning and doffing, or putting on and putting off of your liner, which is how we attach to our prosthesis, and also the hygiene of that liner along with your residual limb. Basically, this is a liner. They come in different shapes, different sizes, different types. One thing about all these liners are they're made of silicone gel. Just to let you know that this is the newest technology out there, but some of you may have a reaction or be allergic to silicone gel. We do have and offer hypoallergenic materials so you will not be affected by the liner. But it is the most wonderful and most secure way of being attached to a prosthesis. Basically, what we do is when we go to put our liner on, we want to get this liner as flat on the top as possible. I'll show you on another liner that there is different types of liners, and they don't all go 100% flat. They do go as flat as they can, but the one thing I'm emphasizing is that they get them as flat, because if you leave any sort of depth in the cup of the liner, when you attach it to your limb, you're going to create a suction cup, which can cause a problem, and you could end up with an issue, whether it's an irritation, blistering, eventually maybe a hematoma. So once again, when you go to put this liner on, you want to get it as flat as possible. On this particular liner, it's called pin suspension. And when I roll it on, you'll see what I'm talking about. You want to put it at the end of your limb, and you're just going to roll it up. As it rolls up, it's going to adhere to your skin. This is not coming off. This particular style is called pin. There's several other styles. There's called suction, where basically instead of having a pin at the end of the liner, it has a ring around it so that as it enters your socket, it makes a seal. And then that, just like when you take a straw, put it into a cup of water, grab the top of the straw, lift it out, the water remains in the straw. When you lift your finger up, now the water releases. Same concept with the suction style suspension. For you above the knee amputees, besides having suction, besides having pin, there's a lanyard style. Some of our older population need a little bit of assistance when they get their prosthesis on. So basically, what would happen here is, in the above the knee socket, there would be an opening on the front of the socket. You would put the lanyard through, at which point you would pull the lanyard, and it would bring you into the socket. Also, all for making ease for different people. Once again, all these different styles of suspension, suction, pin, lanyard, are all to be discussed with your prosthetist, and they, with you, will decide which one's the best. Basically, when you go to remove your liner, you just pull it down and just roll it off. And that's it. It's that simple. One thing I want to let you know is when you go to store your liner overnight when you're not wearing it, this liner cannot be slept in. It cannot be worn 24/7. Unlike in the past segments that you've watched when we talked about the shrinker sock, which could be worn all day, all night, your liners and your prosthesis should only be worn when walking or just sitting idle for short periods of time, but never, never slept in. Basically, what would happen is if you stored your liner like this and kept it in your socket, well, it's easy because then the next morning you can just roll it on, but what would eventually will happen is it will start breaking down the silicone because it's being kept in an unusual angle for the liner. So when storing, don't be lazy. Let's do this right. You want to have success as an amputee. Keep it stored like this. You could sit it down like that. You could lay it flat. And that's it when it comes to the types of liners and donning and doffing it. Now, let's get a little bit into hygiene. Very, very important. The hygiene is simple. Basically, when you take we're going to be issuing you 2 liners. We highly recommend that you wear 1 liner, usually on a fairly moderate to active amputee. That liner being worn every day will eventually wear out after about 3 months, at which point you would take out your second liner, wear that, and after about 6 months, you're going to call us up, or one of our representatives have been talking to you all along anyway, and you're going to let them know, hey, getting close to needing supplies. Can somebody come out and just confirm, and I'll get a prescription from my doctor? That being said, cleaning this liner is easy. You got water in your house, you have soap in your house. We recommend a non-fragrance, non-additive soap. Ivory Snow is a great snow bar. Just soap it up, rub it down, rinse it off, shake it off, just like a duck in the water. Water will not stick to this material. It's silicone gel. If you're in a rush, though, excuse me bending over, never take a towel and rub it. You'll destroy your liner. You can pat it gently to absorb some of the residual water, or if you're a little patient, it will dry in the next minute or so. So give yourself some time. The other thing I just wanted to just hit a base on with our above the knee amputees is when you go to put on your liner, it's going to be cut having a high side. So basically, when you go to put it on most below the knees, there's no top, there's no bottom, there's no left, there's no right. But with your above the knee liners, it's going to be cut a little bit longer on the hip side of your leg as compared to your groin side. And it's going to be a pretty tight cut because it also is going to be cushioning you against the socket once we get your socket on you. Pretty much, so let's do a little quick review. We're always going to get that liner as flat as we can before we put it on. We're always going to invert it for storage at night so we don't get too short of a life after them. They're very expensive. And those insurance companies, God bless them, they don't like to pay for these if they don't have to. So let's get as much life, the proper amount of life out of it we can. We're going to use nice plain soap and water. We're never going to rub it down with the towel. We're just going to pat it dry. Oh my goodness gracious, I forgot one of the most important things. We spoke about keeping the liner clean, but how many times can you clean the liner and then you put it back on that, let's say, not so clean residual limb? Don't forget, every day your body sheds some upper layers of skin, which is normal. When we shower, we take it off. But if we're just going to be doing a quick cleaning of the liner, I also want you to wash your limb and you could dry it at the same time. Without doing one with the other, you might as well not do it at all. Once again, this is Alan Warman for South Beach Prosthetics, part of our YouTube series on keeping your liner clean, your leg clean, and don't forget, let's keep our life clean and healthy. Thank you so much. See you at the next segment.